Manic Monday, everybody. We are back. It's this guy, Sammy the Man McIntyre. We are back with Moving the Chains podcast. Had to rep the sign. How are we doing today? I'm not feeling as good as the Pittsburgh Steelers this morning and tonight. Like Blake Adams, my buddy, he's a Steeler fan. That was a crazy, wacky game last night. Division rival. It just felt big last night. And I'll touch on that game. I want to touch on a couple other games. Dolphins, Patriots, the outcomes of both those teams. One's in the playoffs, one's not. But I appreciate the fight they had after starting kind of shitty. And then I want to touch on Cardinals, Rams, which Arizona, by the way, today is Black Monday. For y'all, for those of you who don't know, that is universally known in the NFL circles as Firing Coaches Day. And the Browns already did it. The Falcons already did it. And yeah, so we'll touch on that tomorrow. I want to give you guys a sneak peek. Black Monday, I'm going to give you guys the kind of scope of where everything's going on. And my Raiders fired Pete Carroll. Fernando, he's coming. I can't wait. So stay tuned for that. But I'm going to start with last night. So I got to be honest, last night kind of saved the Sunday, in my opinion. Yesterday's slate was pretty ugly. It was pretty bad. It had a huge stench on it and stank on it. It was not great yesterday. A lot of teams kind of threw in the white towel. Threw in the white flag. Bye, I'm out. It was bad. But then Pittsburgh Steelers came around and Baltimore Ravens. Teams that kind of just have a mutual hatred toward each other. Duke, North Carolina, Packers, Bears. It just doesn't get much better than that. And last night showed it. And I want to touch on the Ravens first because that was hard to watch last night. And the Baltimore Ravens, I said this last week, I'll say it again, they're going to be okay. And to all these morons out there that want Lamar Jackson traded, yeah, okay, how about the answer is no. We're not doing that shit. Let dumb teams do that. We're not trading the farm, giving him to the Raiders for a player that is just universal. Now, he's not as he was what he was. This year he's kind of 70 to 80% of what he was. But that's still pretty damn good compared to the rest of the league. So, I don't know where we're going with this trading block and all this Reddit shit. Where? Where? Are we watching the same thing? Did we not watch last night? Now again, granted, Pittsburgh's got its own issues, and they blew those two coverages, but he shook the arm of Highsmith, who played it as perfectly as you could, and T.J. Watt last night. And you're telling me you want to trade that guy? Who's the heart and soul of the Ravens? Come on. Two-time MVP? Come on, man. You're not trading that. What I would do is I would get rid of John Harbaugh before I get rid of Lamar. And just like in the Elway documentary, him and Dan Reeves butted heads, kind of stubborn. You know, he's not a bum. He's not a scrub. John Harbaugh's a really good coach. But kind of stubborn, stuck in his ways. You know, my way or the highway. You know, kind of weird. And I think moving forward with Baltimore, I think you got to kind of have a conversation. Go, listen, John, it's been a great run. You got a Super Bowl. But I think we're moving in a different direction. That's what I would do. And the good organizations do that. And Baltimore, obviously, is at the top of my list in terms of the way they're run, the way they're structured, how dominant they've been. Yes, they haven't won a Super Bowl, no doubt about it. But they're just well run and they're smart. Bisciotti, John Harbaugh, you know, DeCosta. It was Ozzie Newsome at first. Then it was DeCosta, and he learned. And it's just incredible. And they're well run. And I'm not down. They have a lot of talent. You know, mix of young and old. And as long as you got Lamar back there at quarterback, you got a shot. Now, granted, he has not beaten Mahomes. He's not beaten Josh Allen. Well, it was hard as hell to do that when Peyton Manning was playing and you had Brady in your prime. And Big Ben had the same problem. So, there's always these hurdles and obstacles. It's just hard for teams to get through. And Lamar's had that with the Chiefs. Who hasn't had time problems with the Chiefs? So, I do think last night, and the other thing is with Baltimore that really needs to get resolved, they need to get the pass rush better. I'm watching last night, and I was hearing this today. In their heyday, Max Lawson knows this better than anybody, biggest Ravens fan I know. He probably knows this. When they had Haloti Ngata and T. Suggs and all those boys up front, It was hard to breathe. Now, granted, you had problems in the back end with Ed Reed and what's his name? The McAllister guy. The corner, Chris McAllister. So you knew you had problems in the back end if you were getting, you're making errant throws when you're getting blitzed like crazy up the middle. So then you're just throwing balls up and the playmakers are going to go get it. But the Ravens don't have a pass rush. And I think the last couple years, when I've watched these leads that they've had, the Raiders, coincidentally last year, second week of the year in Baltimore, they haven't shut down, they haven't closed the game out. They haven't closed it out with the pass rush. So I do think the Ravens, and again, when they lost Kyle Hamilton last night, that was a huge blow last night. Huge blow. I don't think Pittsburgh wins that game if he's in there. That's just my take. And I'll touch on Pittsburgh in a second. Having said that, Kyle Hamilton is their most important player on defense. Hands down. We could say Roquan, really good player. We could say Starks, the safety, Ryan's shades of Ed Reed, just a little bit. Not saying he is, but the range and the versatility and the eyes and the way his hips move, and it's fantastic. It reminds me of Ed Reed, shades of it. I'm not saying he is, but he is. And then you got Nate Wiggins from Clemson. Had some tackling problems, but gotten that cleaned up. So you have good players on defense in Baltimore. But now it's get the pass rush right. And I said this a couple days ago. I would go look at that kid from Texas A&M, that Howell kid. The bend, get around the corner, harass that quarterback, speed to power, you name it. You need a guy like that can close and can play the run really well. Because that's what the Ravens pride themselves on. Physicality, toughness, grit, you name it. Because Baltimore's a gritty city. And it was just so cool to watch last night. Both those teams, Renegade playing, Sticks. Pittsburgh's going ape shit. I've been in that stadium. It was years ago when there was Heinz Fielding. It was 2012 when they played, so it's been a long time. But I've been there. And I know how Pittsburgh Steelers fans get down. And way to go, Pittsburgh. Baltimore, on the other hand, I'll touch on Pittsburgh right now. But just to recap Baltimore, they're going to be okay. Do not trade Lamar Jackson, okay? Probably look for a new coach. Now, it's going to be hard to find one. Who knows? And I believe it when I see it. But right now, in this moment, Baltimore Ravens, you're going to be okay. Sky's not falling. And on the Pittsburgh side of things, I'm happy for my buddy Blake Adams. His Steelers got the dub last night. I loved it. I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan. I know. I've been critical of him. He drives me crazy. He's a little moody. All the other bullshit. I got to deal with it. Whatever. Mr. California cool. But this was more about Aaron Rodgers last night. It's not about Mike Tomlin. It's not about the defense. Aaron bleeping Rodgers came through last night. And let me mind you, he's doing this with no DK, no Darnell Washington. He's got Adam Thielen off the scrap and MVS, who he had in Green Bay as homie. That's it. They can't separate. And, I mean, early in that first half, I'm like, God, this looks awful. I mean, it was like watching paint dry. I was about falling asleep. And then the game went on. I went, okay, this is Ravens Steelers. Yeah, it's going to be in the fourth quarter. It's going to be a dogfight. I've seen this movie before. And that's just a great, oh my God, great rivalry. Man. I mean, it's just, it's old school, thumping, slobber knocker, black and blue, in a dark alley at midnight, just beating the shit out of you. And I'm for that. Anybody that knows me, I'm a component of violence. I like physicality. I like toughness. I like big hits. Yeah. I like ruthless aggression. And I love it. And last night was that. And just to piggyback off how good Aaron Rodgers has been this year in the second half, 68% completion percentage, 14 touchdowns, 4 picks, and 101 passer rating with nothing. So Aaron Rodgers is doing this with a dysfunctional offense, yet again in Pittsburgh, inconsistent offensive line, can't pass block. What else is new? Shocker. Can't run the ball. Shocker. Doing this again. And Aaron Rodgers deserves the blame? Now, he's not perfect. He's a shell of what he once was. But last night was vintage Aaron Rodgers. Say, hey, let's go. Give it to me. Let's go. I'm on my back. Let's go. And he did. And last night, he showed me why he's a Hall of Famer. And he's doing, and I've given Aaron a lot of credit this year. Steelers don't do a lot of things right. Their defense is kind of hit and miss. The run game's hit and miss. O-line, Receiving, Well, you got that quarterback. Last night showed. And yeah, they might have got lucky, missed field goal, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. You know what? Maybe they might beat the Chargers. They might beat Houston. I don't know. Probably not. I highly doubt they will. I'm pulling for Aaron because he's got so much experience. But that's a tough matchup, man. That is, I said today at work, Houston's got 9 Ferraris in that garage. And it's going to be a great game. C.J. Stroud, Aaron Rodgers, old gun, young gun going at it. I can't wait. So we shall see what happens in Pittsburgh come Sunday. Or Monday night, next Monday night. That's going to be massive. So I cannot wait. It's going to be rocking, going to be buzzing. It's going to be fun to watch. So that was just my recap on that game. And then I wanted to touch on 2 other games that I said at the top I would. So the Dolphins played the Patriots yesterday, 38-10. Patriots wiped the floor. Okay, got it. But this is a bigger picture for me with Miami. And they're kind of a chaotic organization, kind of like the Raiders. Be honest. But I think there's some decisions to be made, not just in terms of Mike McDaniel, the new GM, what do you do at quarterback? I will say this with the Dolphins. They've been impressive to me. And I think that they've done a nice job. Mike McDaniel deserves a lot of credit. Now, again, I think he's Mike McVape, Mike McDumbass sometimes, with his vape, and he's kind of nerdy. He's got the capri pants on, and we make fun of him. I get it. But he's really smart, and I think he's squeezed everything out of Tua. He led the league in passing. He led the league in sweep percentage. I think he just needs a new quarterback. He needs a new face in front of him. But the problem that I have with the Dolphins is you can't get out of this Tua thing. Now, you could. You could get out of it. The Dolphins, as I just mentioned, were rumored to get Tua, Lamar. I don't think that's going to happen now. Had you told me, Lamar played like garbage last night and Aaron Rodgers played great, maybe you could swing me that argument and say, yeah, we'll trade Lamar. But that didn't happen after last night. Lamar is so important to the Ravens. It ain't even close. So Miami, it's not a great quarterback draft outside of my guy Fernando, who's going to the Raiders. I just got a feeling, man. Don't fuck it up. I'll touch on that Wednesday. But I really think Miami's kind of in a weird spot. Because I think it's a decent team. But, man, Mike sometimes just drives me crazy. Because it's, the Pittsburgh game I go back to. Not that long ago. So, I don't know what you do with the Dolphins. Would you fire Mike? I don't know. Maybe he's better offensive coordinator. Maybe he's in over his head. I think some of this is the GM, Chris Greer, that it just didn't work. So, I think you got some curious things going on in Miami. I will say I've been impressed with how they fought. They were 13 and they were 1-7. They kind of bounced back and kind of got competitive near the end of the year. So that's a positive sign. Continue that momentum and go into next year. So some interesting decisions going on in Miami. And on the flip side, the Patriots. I'm blown away. That was the best coaching hire outside of Ben Johnson and Liam Cohen in the NFL. And we knew this. I said this last year. New England had the pieces. They just needed a coach and a grown-up, not some guy in over his head. And they did. And Mike Vrabel's a badass, tough guy, fits the bill, you name it. And they got the number 2 seed, and we'll see how that fares. They got to play the Chargers this weekend, which, I got to be honest, that's a go-either-way game for me. I'll do my picks on Thursday. But I want to throw a scenario out to all these Patriot fans out here. Adam Black, I'm talking to you. Let's just throw, for the sake of argument, you lose. It'd be devastating. You lose at home. You got the number 2. Got it. But let's just say this. Not all's doom and gloom in New England. Because you got a whole nother year. You need to get the better offensive line. It's going to be healthier. Add some more depth. Get more receivers. So not all is lost in New England. If you lose. I'm just throwing hypothetical. You probably will be the Chargers, but I'm saying that'd be my reaction if that game would happen. So, I think New England is ahead of schedule. I get all the people saying, well, they played an easy schedule. You got to play the teams you play, dumbass. And they did. And they mopped the floor with them, gave them a stone cold stunner, and got the fuck out of there. Okay? So, I'm not, losing sleep over the schedule part. Okay? But next year's going to be the key. Can you sustain the success? That's what I say every year. So, that's all I got to say about the Patriots, because that was, I figured they would beat the Dolphins, but not by much. And that 1 o'clock window was, oh, Jesus. I took like 5 naps yesterday. It was so boring. It's like watching paint dry. And last but not least, the game I wanted to touch on was the Cardinals-Rams. I kind of caught glimpses of it. It's kind of a dogfight. I've said this with Arizona. They're playing hard. They've lost 9 straight games. Obviously, Jonathan Gannon got canned today. I'll touch on him tomorrow. Kind of weird. I mean, that first, team meeting was just kind of cringe. Maybe he's better suited to be a defense coordinator than an offense coordinator or coach, whatever. But Arizona's got some question marks. Kyler Murray's contract's huge. They just got rid of Fire Gannon today, Black Monday. I mean, I don't know. I think Arizona's kind of a weird spot. The Bidwell's kind of cheap. Organizational issues. Have some talent I like. But just something's fishy in that out in the desert. I don't know. Because I thought Brissett played really well down the stretch. But he's a backup. We know that. But Arizona's got some question marks. You're not going to take a quarterback this year. I think maybe you ride it out with Kyler maybe one more year and then move on. I'm not the biggest. I'm out on Kyler. I've been out on him since the start. But I don't know. I don't see it, man. I don't see Arizona doing much better until they get a really good coach and a solid coach. I mean, the times that they've had them, they've been successful. They had it with Arians, and they had it with Ken Wisenhunt for that blimp with Kurt Warner. But other than that, it's been kind of up and down. So, I don't know. I'm not as confident in Arizona as the other jobs are if I was ranking them. And then on the Rams side of things, congratulations. The Rams, the playoffs again. Yeah. All right. No Leasing's proud of that. Biggest Rams fan, though. So, Rams are back in it. I'm happy. Stafford, maybe go get another ring, big guy. Go get that W. Go get that Super Bowl, baby. I'm pulling for you. The playoffs, I am pulling for you to win. You're going to beat Carolina this weekend. I have a feeling. I still laugh that Carolina. Yeah, boy. I mean, that's going to be a good quarterback matchup like it could be, because Rams kind of have secondary problems. But I don't know. I think Carolina, it's a 10-point favorite. The Rams, I could see that game getting ugly early. But North Carolina, Tennessee, Nashville, and Charlotte, the kind of weather gets weird. So maybe it might play a side in Carolina. We don't know. But all I got to say with the Rams is well done. Got the playoffs again. Stafford, McVay, this infrastructure. Well done. Well done. You did well. You faced a lot of adversity without Devontae. Puka's weird shit. Good for you. So that's all I got tonight. Tomorrow, I just give you a sneak peek. I got the Black Monday kind of news going down. We got Atlanta firing their coach, Cleveland and Arizona, and what I think the best fits are. So that's all I got for you guys tonight. Hope you guys are doing well. Manic Monday. We got college football. We got pro football weekend. Let's freaking go. Adios. Love you guys. Godspeed.